Hey, gentlemen and ladies, we are, or lady, probably my cousin watching. We're gonna do, um, I need to do the posting. Oh, can we please update my YouTube channel? I need to make the Discord post and we're gonna get started. Side camera died overnight. I guess the charger came unplugged, so side cam is charging currently, but we will get right to that once it's up. So let's just do a post to at live streams. We do that. And I think I'll do a Twitter post too. Why not? Tweeter. Mouse. Modding. And lo-fi live now. So I got some stuff to do today, so I won't be, maybe we'll do like post. Yeah. Ooh, you guys want to see my Twitter notifications? Do I have anything good? Dude, the Illmeister follows me. It's actually pretty awesome. I feel seen. This week's Mousecast, one thing I was thinking about doing too is I could just have Mousecast on in the background, and you guys might have already listened to it, but I could kind of, a bridge? You know, where you give additional info that maybe you didn't say in the moment or whatever. Yeah, something that's like, something I kind of sympathize with streamers now, it's, when you're live, you're making split decisions. So if you say something that's like cancelable, in the moment you might not articulate yourself well. I don't know. I imagine most people don't want to get canceled, but also maybe some people do like inflammatory things. Anywho. Oh, good. I see Neon Thunders in the Discord. Sorry, I'm bringing up chat now. So what we're going to be doing in this live stream is reassembling not all 40 of the mice, but we'll see how far I can get. Also, good news. I have some light on the way that hopefully will help with the color, with the shadow banding that I'm getting on my overhead webcam. Open up the window here. Again, no side camera yet. My phone is, I think, maybe it has enough power to turn on now. Yep, there we go. It's booting up. It's gonna take a minute. But what was I doing with this ATK X1? I don't even remember. Today, though, hey, Rachel. Hey, cuz. Hey, Rachel. The one female viewer in the audience. Heck yeah. I'm 10:08:21 to the Mousecast, but this notification popped up. Wait, Mr. LKL, can I do you a favor? Can I do you a favor? You wanna watch it with me? And I can ad lib stuff too. 108:21, bro. I got you. Let's go to this week's Mousecast, view my channel, and that way I don't need to worry about DMCA take. I don't monetize these videos anyway. Anything other than ni hao.
Yeah. Yeah, right now you can basically, and yeah, I think for me, being able to run a brand both in a technical way and a creative way is something that I really enjoy, because it's not a repetitive job for sure. My role is very dynamic. It can be very busy, and one day it can be relaxing. It can be stressful, but that's the beauty of it. I think that's the beauty of building a brand.
So one thing I want to add there is Joel, when he DM'd me, when I was in his DM scheduling this, I sent him, he requested the questions ahead of time, which I always offer. And he said something about, like, I don't really play any games right now, so, like, I don't really know what I'll say for that question. Because we always ask, what games do you play? And he also said something about not being the most technical. So we were actually a little bit worried that the conversation would fall a little flat. Obviously, that was not at all the case, and Joel was an amazing guest. But this answer that he gives is good insight into how he is, how he's non-technical, but he's still incredibly passionate about mice. Yeah, I think being a part of a small team is pretty exciting. Like I imagine when Logitech or Razer, when they want to innovate on something, there's so much bureaucracy and one little change,
True,
they're big, but they're slow.
true. Yeah, it allows us to move faster as a small brand,
Yeah,
and the decision making is not something that's super hard.
yeah. Um, how about a question that came from somebody else is what what are some of your favorite peripherals and what games do you play?
Okay. Other than the T Evolution Terror, I really like the Ninjutsu Sora P2. I think it's a fantastic, phenomenal mouse. I think everyone would agree about that. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, Ninjutsu Sora, and I use a lot of Zowie products as well. I still have it in my office, and I kind of switch them once in a while. Some Lamzu products are also very good. Lamzu Atlantis is one of my favorite ones. But yeah, if I could name one, it could be the Ninjutsu Sora V2.
So on that note, the Ninjutsu Sora V2, he does also say at one point that they are exploring their own unique shape and not doing a copycat of somebody else's shape. So I wonder what that might be. Okay.
What about you guys?
How about you,
My
Daz?
favorite main OP1 8K. I'm like just the permanent OP1 8K shill. Now I have the V2. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like the infinite speed for mouse pads too. All the speed pads I'm very much an enjoyer of, and I've been glass pilled recently. But yeah,
Yeah.
that color specifically.
Yeah, baby.
And it's not about glass; it's just so consistent. But I do hate wearing a sleeve. But yeah, OP1 8K V2, and honestly, the hit scan hyperlate for
Oh,
smaller mice.
bro.
So I love that. Yeah.
So good. So well made.
Yep.
For me,
What about you?
I would probably go like I think kind of my trifecta of three favorite shapes are probably WL Mouse Strider, Viper V3, or any of the clones. Anything that I can weight mod to the lowest weight and put Armor on Opticals in. And I
Yeah. Right.
I do also really like aggressive hourglass mice sometimes, like the VGN F2. I freaking sanded down I literally sanded down the bases of like 40 mice on stream, and one of the very first ones I put back together was the VGN F2. I just love that mouse so much. Oh, look at that. Your video comes right up, Daz.
Look at that SEO. Yeah, I do like the Incat 039 a lot recently too.
Yeah,
This is like a sort of like a Viper V2, but
Oh,
it's got like some more tall presence to it. Great colorway.
big
Got
mouse.
some, what is it, UWHMPE dots? Is that what that material is?
Ultra high molecular weight polyethylene.
Okay, yeah.
UHMWPE. Yep. So, an aside to that, polyethylene is a pretty common plastic. You'll see it in a lot of food safe products. So, like, this rubbing alcohol container is probably polyethylene. Yep. So this says HDPE at the bottom, or high density polyethylene. So yeah, polyethylene is often kind of it's a softer, more pliable plastic. And yeah, you'll see it used on containers very often. And it's usually that milky white appearance. This is probably not. Oh no, this still is. No, this is PETE. It's I actually don't know what PETE stands for. It's probably it might be another polyethylene polymer, HDPE. I wonder if these little bins are polyethylene. PP, polypropylene. Yep. So my understanding is polyethylene is common in like food consumable products.
Good for glass.
Yeah. And then for
And then
pads,
I have
I
this
like.
BeastX. This is cool too.
Oh
the
heck
beast.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
BeastX,
yeah.
solid
beast are-
sides.
yeah.
Yeah, Auburn
This
Opticals. Yep.
solid sides. What a freaking gimmick. They just release a version with holes, then later release a version with solid sides, and you double your sales.
Yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, like you, I like speed pads. I like anything spandex. So But yeah, how about what games do you play? And I'm purposely asking this knowing your answer.
No, right now I don't really play any games right now, but I used to play. So I'm more into the fighting games. I used to play a lot of like Korean games called Lost Saga. It was
Could
it
you
was really
spell that?
popular in Indonesia. Lost Saga.
Oh,
It's a Korean game, but
Lost Saga.
yeah, I
Okay.
used to play that a lot. Yeah, so it's mainly using keyboard actually.
Huh.
Never heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I play a lot of like Tekken, if you know.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Tekken.
Did you ever use like the fight sticks, or was it more like controller or keyboard or?
the controller. Yeah, I use the, what is it called again? The one, uh, the joypad,
It's got
the
the yeah,
joypad.
yeah,
The
with the
big
buttons.
controller. What is it called?
Yeah, yeah. Shoot.
Yeah.
Did you guys know that Razer
I'm
makes
not a
gaming
fighting game.
controllers called the
I,
Wolverine?
I
Whole
don't really
generation.
play that much game, to be honest.
Were there any
I
games you got really big into growing up?
Yeah, that's one of
Guess
it.
what?
Lost Saga and like Seal Online. I think it's an MMO RPG games. Yeah, Seal Online.
Seal?
Have you ever heard of it?
I have not.
Yeah,
I
Seal
love
Online.
MMOs though. Someday when my kids are older,
Yeah.
I will
Yeah, I
play some
grew up
MMOs with
watching
them.
it. I think it's a Korean game as well.
Okay. Huh.
Nice. So there's something so relaxing about MMOs. You sit there and you make progress, or you don't make progress, and it doesn't matter. It's just do whatever you want. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah. One of my buddies who was really into FPS games when he had kids and he couldn't like sit down and play a full match anymore, he got himself a Steam Deck and got into MMOs and such and absolutely loves it. Says it's a total game changer and it has me thinking with a kid on the way, maybe I should get off the sweaty games and start trying some more games like this.
Yeah, I got World of Warcraft running on my Steam Deck. It was pretty sick, honestly.
Oh. Yeah.
We drove across the state and I was hotspotting internet to my Steam Deck so I could play WoW in the car. Yeah.
Wait, so your wife is the one who drives on road trips and you chill?
She has to drive everywhere because of motion sickness. If she's not the driver, it's really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That sucks. I get that. I get motion sickness if I read in the car for too long. How about or look down at my phone for too long. What do you do outside of Tevolution? Like hobbies, directors, cut mouse cast. Hey Marvin.
So yeah, I play a lot of sports. Mainly basketball.
Sorry,
so
I asked what he
afterwards,
does outside of.
If I have time, I go out play basketball with random guys in China because it's really accessible here. I also swim. I do a bunch of sports and I play music.
What
play
instruments?
Guitar.
Okay.
That's a guitar. Yeah, yeah, and other than that, it's mostly just socializing. I'm a really family guy, so I spend a lot of time with my family on the weekends. Yeah, just hanging out with people and on the TiVo team. And outside of work, I'm also doing a part-time master program in economics and management.
Insane.
Whoa, that's awesome.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So you said you're Indonesian, but you're living in Guangzhou
exactly
because of work?
Guangzhou.
Okay.
Because of work. I used to study here for a couple of years. And I took language studies, specifically learning Chinese for a couple of years.
Next.
And that's how I got into like Fantech, TiVo, /TiVo, because I speak 3 languages in an office. Speak Bahasa Indonesia with the main team, and I would say we're not a Chinese company. I would say we're an international company.
Yeah, Nova's here. Yes,
but the main team are Indonesian. We have someone from Hong Kong as well. We still have someone from Canada, and we do have some Chinese teams like for the logistics and everything. So yeah, and with you guys, I talk using English. Right?
I was gonna ask how many languages you speak. Yeah,
I speak only 3. Yeah,
only.
But I'm learning Japanese right now.
Huh. So what's it like, I guess, living in China for work? Like, and in Guangzhou it's pretty industrial. Like Shenzhen, it's lots of
Yeah,
manufacturing, right? Yeah, if you guys don't know, a lot of
true, true. In
mouse manufacturing is huge in Shenzhen, or at least that's my take from looking at all the FCC listings where you see all where the companies are located and what their legal filing name is. Because remember, the brand names like Darmo Shark, for example, that's not the actual manufacturer's name. The actual manufacturer's name will be like Shenzhen Technology Co. Limited or something. And I swear, like half of them have Shenzhen in them.
in Shenzhen, Guangzhou, basically the whole province, the Guangdong province, is a very industrial place. So there's a lot of manufacturers, suppliers.
Have any of you guys ever been to China? Can you tell me about what you were doing there and what it was like in chat? Second question for chat is this boring rewatching this? Like, I did this because Mr. LKL said something and I was debating it already. And third thing is, I would love to go to China, mainly from this hobby actually, is what had me so interested. I've always been into manufacturing. I grew up doing factory tours with the family and became a mechanical engineer. I nearly did architecture from I did an independent study in high school after two semesters of architecture classes. Opted not to because architecture school is expensive and it can potentially be a lot of schooling for not a lot of, you know, kind of like a doctor, you spend years putting in time before you actually are in any sort of position to make significant design decisions. So I went into mechanical engineering, and mechanical engineering is pretty much, at least where I am, it's pretty much mass production. It's pretty much manufacturing.
And one good thing about Guangzhou is,
IEMs are
as a
also made
big
there
city,
too. Yeah.
very metropolitan, and once in a while, like almost every single month, there's gonna be like a lot of exhibitions. That's why I think that one of the reasons that we're here, because how close we are to the suppliers, how close we are to
Yeah.
the manufacturers, and it's gonna affect the whole supply chain. And it's just really cool seeing all the innovation.
So one thing about being close to suppliers in China is, and maybe Rachel I know works in manufacturing if she's still in chat. Rachel or anyone else, have you guys ever worked with Chinese suppliers or Chinese people in any sort of working capacity? One thing that I have learned is, or at least the Chinese people that I've worked with, extremely hardworking, smart, educated. One cultural difference is they will not so much when you meet face to face, but when you are communicating via just like messages and such, they often fill in blanks if you don't ask. So it's very different from like a German culture. If a German culture, if you're trying to say, I want to make a mouse, and you go out to a German manufacturer and you say, design me a mouse, make it a 3395 sensor, and make it an ergo shape. They're going to come back to you and without having done any work, they're going to be like, what size? What switches? What kind of skates? If you go out to a Chinese manufacturer, I'm exaggerating here, but from my experience, when you'd go out to a Chinese manufacturer, you would give them that input and they would just fill in the blanks themselves and then give you the product. So yeah, it's like a very hardworking culture that at least that I've seen. But yeah, there's just are some cultural differences. American manufacturing culture is just they'll just fold their arms and be like, "Well, it wasn't specified. I ain't doing crap."
And how easily exposed we are to the innovation. And yeah, for example, if there's like one company approaching us, it's really easy for us to just get in touch with them and visit their factory and looking how things are produced with our own eyes. It's
Being able to oversee is incredibly important.
just such an eye-opening experience to live in China. Other than that, China is I think it's a beautiful country. There's like a lot of things to explore here, and everything is just convenient with all the technologies.
Yeah. The convenience is another one. My gaming buddy Trapes, who's from China but living in one of the Carolinas now, whenever he goes back to visit China, he says it's insane how just optimized and everything is close together. Here in the US, it's mainly suburbia. So houses are decently spaced apart. You're in neighborhoods. Sometimes the neighborhoods will look very similar to one another. There are kind of the same stores. So if you're in suburbia anywhere in the US, you're going to generally feel pretty comfortable. But you do have to drive everywhere. Very driving focused culture here in the US. In China, from what Trace told me, at least in the major cities, which is where the majority of people live, everything is like walkable and close and convenient, especially when like the cities like Chongqing are multiple levels. So like if you want to go shopping, sometimes you go up. Like from your apartment building because the rooftop is connected via a bunch of walkways to like an entire city level with shops and restaurants. Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, I know. What
Have
am
you
I?
guys been to China?
I would love to go, even though I don't know anything other than ni hao.
Yeah.
Ni hao means hello.
Yeah. Yeah, right now you can basically survive with. When I came to China for the first time, I use a lot of translation apps. So it's just me, passing phones to each other, like speak with English or Bahasa Indonesia, and it plays in Chinese, and that works actually.
So motor speed
I know a
X6,
lot of I know a lot
39.5
of
grams after the base
English
sanding,
speaking
battery swap, and
people
this
that doesn't
base
speak
cutout here.
Chinese who survive living in China for 5-10 years.
Interesting.
Yeah, another thing that if you guys don't know, English is the language of business. Or at least that's what I've been told and from my little bit of international dealings. So if you go to a place primarily for business, you're generally going to be working with people at that do speak English. Like if you go to a supplier, your project manager that you're dealing with is going to know English. The engineers and factory workers who are actually doing the work probably not, but your contact generally will. Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a nice dog. There's a cute dog.
Yeah, that's my girl Nova. She likes to join me.
Nova.
Yeah. And a couple people in stream like seeing her too. But yeah, she hears me talking, so she wants to part. This thing that she lays on, it was a free Craigslist item. It's like a love seat bench, for putting your legs up on. And I grabbed it during my lunch break from work in my Miata, and it doesn't fit in the Miata, so I put it in the passenger seat next to me, like sitting upright, because it's big. And I seat belted it in. No, I seat belted it in, but it was still sketchy, so I rolled up the window and then was pressing it up against the window to my side to get it home. So, and then it's got a blanket on top of it for her. The things we do for you, doggy. Anticipate. Oh, you said you had questions for us.
Yeah, I think I prepared some. So
Okay.
I'm really curious about one thing. So I'm gonna round the questions one by one. But I think the first one would be, I think you guys reviewed hundreds of mice, right? How many mice do you have right now?
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Over 100, that's for sure. I have 2 calculator holders, which is less than phalanges, full of that is
Over
36
100.
each. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 15 mice on my desk right now.
These calculator holders, you can Google them. They'll be called classroom organizers or classroom or calculator storage or phone storage. They're usually 36 pockets.
And 25 mouse pads, I think.
25 mouse pads.
But I've stored the keyboards randomly across the room, but the problem is my 1-year-old son just finds them and pulls them out. My wife hates bringing them in there here because he just finds all the stuff. But as you might have seen in the beginning of that last video, their ball pit is in this room because it's like half office, half playroom. So they just want to come and play in the ball pit. But yeah, easily over
them in one specific room for mouse, and you hang them.
I have 2 of the hangers on the underside of my standing work desk for me. He has them all mounted on his wall.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's I sold like 20
Yeah.
mice recently. I need to sell a lot more of these mice to maintain the channel for money, but also just to maintain sanity. There's too many mice here.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
His is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, a lot of them, though, I've like modded, so they're not really worth, it's a $30 mouse that I've now modded, so now it's only worth $15.
Yeah.
And if I go to ship it, it's $8 to ship it anyway.
Yeah.
I
Don't
want to
be
sell
like
this
me.
deluxe M900 Pro right here because now that I base modded it, I can actually use better skates on it, which is good. But Piezo Go reviewed this and it has motion latency, and when you have a million other mice, it's a fine mouse otherwise, but when you have a million mice to choose from, unless there's a firmware update here that gets rid of the motion latency, it just has you second guessing if you actually ever want to use it. BRB changing devices. Sean King looks so dope in vlogs. Yeah. Why is this mouse like not really going back together? It's not like clicking in.
No. Until when do you guys see yourself keeping this hobby? Are you gonna keep it
That's a good
forever? Have you ever felt bored about this hobby or like burnout by how many brands approach and how stagnant the industry is and having to review all of them, especially you, Austin?
That is a great question. So like gaming, I never really get burnt out, and like I could probably try peripherals all day, but like the reviewing burnout is consistent and real. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think at one
Yeah.
point last month I had 20 items in my house that were pending collaboration reviews, which is just way too many.
20.
That's me saying yes too much, but like 90% of them were interesting and I actually wanted to try them. And if you say no, you feel like it might not ever come back around and happen. But yeah, I mean, some nights like tonight I got home from work, ate dinner, put my kids to bed, and then came and edited for 2 hours. Like I didn't play any games, I didn't hang out with my wife. Like that's not the best.
Yeah.
So I'd like to try and tone it down a bit.
And one thing with burnout too is it stacks, right? So if that happens every night now and again, you can generally accept it. Even if you're a pretty like low maintenance person, there's only so many times that happens in a row, and then your significant other is like, "Wow, hello, do we even know each other?" Or, you're not spending enough time with your kids, and they're maybe harboring resentment or just learning to accept that you're not around. It's tough. The burnout part is tough. It's a I don't know how to phrase this, but I guess my point is it's a slow rolling build up. It's not just all of a sudden I'm burned out. I need to Oh shoot. I didn't even put the scroll wheel in. Whoops. Yeah. Oh yes, by the way, anything decided for the next stream? Message retracted? What? Decided for the Oh, you retracted that message? Oh, bro, you can ask that. I don't care. Why are you retracting messages? Were you just like gonna edit it? Anything decided for next stream, the anniversary stream? Nothing yet. Ball is still in Daz's court. Once we have a date and time nailed down, and most importantly, if we are doing it in person or not, then I will come up with a game plan. I teased on this episode of Mousecast during the outro what those things might be. But quick vibe check. Are you guys liking the Mousecast Director's Cut re-listen party? If not, say something. Because we can go back to lo-fi.
Remember like what's
I'm good either way.
Go ahead.
I see. But do you remember like the first serious mice that they got you like really hooked of like, oh, I'm gonna continue this hobby?
Good questions from Joel.
It was 2016 when Overwatch came out, and I was still using like a Razer Naga in FPS because that was just the mouse I used for everything. Then I tried one mouse, and then I got two more from Best Buy and returned them because I didn't like them on Amazon. And I think it was actually a G403 that I landed on, ironically, with the Terra shape. But and then like a Rival 6. It was a SteelSeries mouse. I don't figure out which one it was. But like it just felt so much better. I'll have to figure out which one it was. It might have been Rival 600, Rival 650. I don't remember.
Yeah.
It was definitively a Rival 600. Yeah, I really like that mouse actually. I used that for years.
It's like a G502
And then-
kind of.
It really started to go downhill or uphill when I met this guy.
Yeah.
How did you guys meet each other? Did you guys met online and
I
started
listed an
talking to each other
OP1 Wii on eBay, and we definitely did not violate eBay terms and conditions by talking on Discord and then meeting up in person. So-
Yeah. We live like roughly, depending on traffic, an hour. Yeah, my name's Eric. Daz's is Austin. Daz originally, when we first started out, wanted to keep that unknown for privacy reasons. I have enough content out there in the wild where it makes no difference to me. Before the stream, where did I put my little screwdriver? Dang, son. Oh, here it is. Before the stream, Joel asked if he could call us by our real names, and Daz said yes. And of course, I've always been okay with that. I usually go by Phalanges. Eric is A-OK also. We're away from each other, so it's not. It's
okay,
not.
that's cool. That's cool.
This base is
it's
warped.
fine.
Close enough. Yeah,
It's not.
but-
Yeah.
It's not the easiest to meet up, particularly with my kids, but it's definitely feasible.
Yeah.
We've done it a few times. Yeah.
We've done like mouse
should
cast
get the heat
together.
gun
So maybe next week, maybe for Mousecast anniversary stream, we're talking about maybe meeting
Okay.
up or maybe playing some games or something. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see what
That's
happens.
exciting.
Yeah. I know for me, so I don't review so much. I've been enjoying live streaming from my work desk bench over
Modding,
here.
yeah.
Just because then I don't have to focus on doing the editing. Yeah, I'm not going to get big view counts. I'm not going to have a big audience, but that's okay. I got into gaming mice a long time ago. I've told this story before on Mousecast, but the big one for me was Star Wars Battlefront 2015. There was a burst weapon in it called the E3. And if you used a mouse with a low debounce time, not click latency, but debounce time, you could fire it faster, and it's a burst weapon, so it was like the best gun in the game. So then I got down that whole rabbit hole of testing a bunch of different mice, because this is 2016, 2017, before there's really reviews with this kind of technical data like debounce time. I'm bending this to try to get it flat again without breaking it. I'm about to heat up the heat gun, because I feel like I might have to. This is a unique design in that there's clips in the side here. There's nothing in the back. There's a screw, but because there's no perimeter clips, the back here is not. Yeah, it's not sitting flush up into the mouse, or at least as flush as I would want it to be. But I am making some stress marks in this, so I don't love that. I locked my dog out of the room for a moment because she was barking.
Yeah.
And that got me realizing that like I aimed better with small mice, and I've come and gone in and out of the hobby, but this has been the longest I've been in it, and Mousecast has been really fun. I strategically picked Mousecast, a podcast format, so that I wouldn't have to be editing and get as much burnout, and I could just sit and talk to you guys and nerd out about stuff without a whole lot of commitment.
I think you guys is the only one who's doing the podcast format, right? Where everyone is doing, that's still doing reviews, but I think like you guys collectively is the only one I could even name.
Yeah, Stubby or somebody.
Do you know
I
anyone?
forget.
Yeah.
They I think it was Stubby did like a news recap maybe every week or every few weeks.
Yeah,
but it was
short video. Yeah.
I've seen it.
The only long form. I don't know, but
Yeah,
this also is ridiculous to some people that we can sit and talk about mice for 2 hours every single week.
It's not hard. It's not hard. I think the other thing that got me into like gaming mice is whenever I buy anything, I over research the heck out of it and buy like way too many. Like I'll buy like 6 or 7 phone cases for my phone and pick the one I like the most. And
Agreed.
So mice just like it proliferates quickly, and there's so many different options and so many small things you can focus in on to differentiate. So
Yeah.
Guys, is there any specific release or like a brand move that you guys are really looking forward to? Because I know specifically you, Eric, on your Reddit, on your Twitter, every single release, you would post it, right? You would. I think you're the go-to guy if people want to
He
look
is.
for, okay, well, what's new in the what's new in the community, what's new in the brand scene, and I do go to your page on Twitter, Maniphalanges, to look up like, oh, this brand is releasing this, and sometimes it's even from a
ATK
Chinese platform
X1V2
like
release
Bilibili.
today,
Like,
I
do
think.
you have like Bilibili account?
No, and I know you need like a Chinese phone number to get Billy. Dude, I'm about to learn Chinese
Right.
just so I can get you guys the latest mouse news.
How's usually the process of you getting like the most updated news?
That's a good question. So there's a few ways. The number one way, I do a lot of browsing on AliExpress, and I'll just post when I see good deals to our Discord. Join our Discord, link in the description. I'll
Right.
also check. Metkeys takes a little bit longer, but Metkeys will usually have a new. I also follow probably the same people that you follow, like on Reddit, Devi Lung and who's the other Chinese guy but he's living in England, whatever.
Dawn
I follow
User Slayer.
Hitoshi on
Dawn
Twitter.
Slayer user.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess kind of aggregate a lot of the stuff. I don't think a lot of it. The only really organic thing that I do is probably FCC leaks.
Yeah, FCC leaks.
FCC
Bilibili
leaks.
is not banned in
Yeah,
my
so-
country. I can access it. In order to create a Bilibili account, you need a Chinese phone number, I believe. Wait, I think I actually made a Bilibili account. With a Bilibili account, you get access to higher quality video. I don't know if you get closed caption translations. That would be really nice because sometimes I have to like, if I want to understand what they're saying, I have to image translate repeatedly. Yeah, this shape's not the best. It's really interesting. It just has a very flat, tall left side here. The right side I rather like. The size is like decent. The side buttons are actually quite good. The coding is quite good too. The coding on these newer deluxe is actually very, very good. Yeah, the skates kind of suck though. Look at that. You can tell they're crappy skates when they have that like paperiness to the bottom. So right, the Federal Communications Commission here in the US, it's a federal agency. So if you have a wireless device, you have to register it, and with that registration comes photos. So like here's the new upcoming X2N that I posted 24 days ago. So I don't really create any new content. I just aggregate it. And because I have a freaking podcast, when somebody shows me something, I post it to Reddit, and then that becomes my hyperlink for the Mousecast.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons people go to your Mousecast. It's just
Number
like,
one reason
what,
is the
what
news.
kind of releases.
That's why we
exciting.
do it first.
Yeah. By the way, that's my main question to begin with. Like, what are the release that you guys are really looking forward to?
Do you have any, Daz?
I'm curious to see if there are any changes to LGG pads with the Pulsar collaboration, or if they come out with another new one.
Yeah,
I
that's
still
an
need to try
interesting
the
one.
Hyperion. I'm struggling to think about mice.
I know if
Okay.
I can jump. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, yeah. I'm thinking.
Really boring answer, but the X2H Crazy Light in size 2. This is
Size
so
2.
boring.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's so
It's gonna come out eventually. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's been leaked. I know Elo Shapes that he had
Sure.
it on his website like a month ago, and I'm pretty sure I saw it.
Somebody corrected me in chat, I believe, during the live stream. The Champion Edition, or whatever, the PRX Champion Edition with the gold scroll wheel was an X2H Crazy Light size 2.
Someplace else,
Limited
but Pulsar
release.
has not officially announced it.
Or only given to PRX members,
They only
something
have
like
the
that.
mini right now.
So it's
I don't
coming.
know. Cyrox, the new V12 looks interesting. The Cyrox
Possibly
V12.
delayed.
It's a Dex, the pink one here. WL mouse
That was some inside
Huan.
info that Daz had.
Looks interesting. It's a pretty good looking shape with some nice colorways, solid magnesium, so sure.
Looks like a normal shark mouse. Anyway.
Yeah, you and I, there was something in the news that you and I were both like, oh, that's an interesting new shape. We would both try that because I'm getting kind of sick of like Viper clones and stuff. What was
You
it?
don't say.
It wasn't
People
the
love the Viper clone and the GPS clone videos.
except
YouTube doesn't love them though. Yeah.
YouTube AI. Because
Yeah.
Dez's videos
I don't
got
know, the
taken down.
RCC one I kind of want to try.
Really? Okay.
Oh, the
Yeah.
Aria Gears, right?
Yeah. Bro, I think it
Yes.
looks really good. Am I weird?
It's got like a spaceship aesthetic almost. Like
It is.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
yeah. The low free high pace was an interesting one that I tried. The shape didn't work for me, but it was a very cool looking mouse.
Yeah, I
You
can't
name
believe
it as the bicycle or something shape, right?
The bicycle helmet, yeah.
Yeah, the bicycle helmet. I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
dude,
love
that
it,
became an
yeah.
emoji on our Discord.
It kind of.
It was the end of the short. I put my
Kinda
kid's bike in
does.
the
You were wearing it
Adhesive's gone on that skate.
as a helmet. Yeah.
It's a helmet.
Man, I
Wow.
can't find where was the actual bit of you on the bicycle? That was in the end, right?
It was the end of the short.
Oh, the short.
Yeah.
Dang it. All right. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't really have a strong answer. How about if we get a true Zowie FK2 clone and a Yzowl Cloud S between the XS and the normal Cloud? Sure. That's my answer.
I'm not gonna lie. I would like a 2025 lightweight MM720 straight up. Like I still have a couple PRs and Kovacs with that mouse.
Stupid.
This thing is just yeah. I don't know, man. That pinky rest on the right side is nice. It's so goofy. I love it. Yeah.
Can I ask one last question?
Yeah.
So Rachel asks, if you're like the mouse info guy, where do you get your info from? Like you just said something was not officially released, but you guys know about it. Do you have contacts in mouse manufacturing? Not exactly. So the guy we're interviewing, Joel, he works for Tevolution. I simply just reached out to him one day. Tevolution, they are a sub-brand of a brand called Fantech. Fantech makes like budget mice. They're not super relevant this day and age. They're Indonesian, and I think most of their market is Asia, not so much here in the US. But Tevolution is like a sub-brand that we learned operates totally independently, and they are in the premium, more in the premium space. I just simply DM'd him on Twitter to get him on, and then it's through shows like this that we learn more information. I do a lot of reading on Reddit. r/mouse review is the #1 US community probably. Possibly more active though is Twitter, because Twitter you have a little bit more international content. What else? Oh wait, I should check the weight of this guy. Oh no, where's the dongle? Dongle, come out. There it is. Yeah, metkeys.com I mentioned. They're just a retailer that you can sort by newest arrivals. AliExpress, you used to be able to sort by newest arrivals. You cannot anymore. RIP. Let's see, other websites that I use. Twitter and Mouse Review are the big ones. You can follow people on Reddit, like Devayoung and Dawn Slayer user, though I usually see stuff on Twitter before I see stuff posted to Reddit. Also, the Dastrazak Discord is shockingly good for info too. There's a few Chinese people, Sunnybee and Sunrise come to mind. Kovacs with an X is on there. And some other people who I'm definitely forgetting. Alright, I'm not getting that magnet out. Then just being in the reviewer space too, like adjacent to Dastrazak, you talk to other reviewers, and other reviewers will sometimes have info from when you coordinate with a brand. It's usually via email. It's usually a person who will be like, we have this mouse up and coming at this point in time. We're looking at reviews to come out around this time. What's your capacity for a review? Would you like a unit? And through that, you can have some organic conversation. You can ask things like, hey,
the teaser that I saw that you posted to Twitter says it was going to use Omron optical switches, but now you're saying the one you're sending me is Omron mechanical. Why is that? And then you'll get the inside scoop. Oh, supply chain issues. Omron can't produce enough of the optical switches. The lead time's too long. That's the gist of that, I think. There's definitely other websites that I use for the FCC that I mentioned, just to be clear. That is FCC ID or FCC.gov. You can search companies on there. FCC or report FCC.report is another really good one. And you can see when companies file a new mouse, they're supposed to file it with the FCC for wireless interference communication, make sure that's all hunky-dory. Pulsar is really the only one that's pretty reliable, because usually like Logitech and Razer, they're under NDA. So when you see the listing, you won't see the product name, you won't see pictures. All there will be is a listing for a mouse, and then it might have a model number that is unreleased and doesn't tell you anything. Like Logitech's usually begin with 810, and Razer's usually start with RZ01 then some jumble of numbers. But if you go and Google that, if it's not out, you'll not have any result. You won't have any results. But Pulsar, they do publish photos, and they don't embargo those photos. When they post something to FCC, they just give all the info. They give the wireless testing, the like signal interference charts and stuff. So, good question. I hope that satisfies your answer. The TLDR is lots of Googling, lots of forums, and talking to people.
Brands, like...
My X Omron opticals.
He said my
probably
X.
118 to 119 millimeters long, ambi shape. What kind of skates would I want on it? Like jades, something like a jade skate by default.
Okay.
Collab with X-ray pad or something.
Harder.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Side buttons like this, unless they're too big for the mouse, maybe scale them down a little bit.
Yeah. And do you think it's worth implementing to every single mouse with big side buttons?
As long as they're not going to interfere with where you place your thumb. Like the side of this shape is so large, it's perfect, right? But was it the original YouTube? People complained about the side buttons getting in their way. I didn't have that problem, but my thumb is very far back on the mouse, so like it doesn't really. I'm not gonna run into the side buttons like someone else might do. So
yeah.
I think mice could stand to have bigger. I'm
trying to decide if I want to trim down these buttons. Something that's annoying is when you press down on the Ninjutsu Origin 1X, when you press down on it, the buttons make contact with the shell. So I could try trimming this. The problem is I think it's going to look like crap. Watch, Mr. LKL probably dipped out because he was like, I'm sick of this. I just want to watch Mousecast. I don't want the director's cut. Just in
I think so too. Yeah. Some kind of cool, like, so there's 039 here. It has this like stylized scroll wheel.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Like it has like the design on it. That's really cool. It would have to have a vibrant colorway. And the coating would be like probably a glossy coating. I have a soft spot for glossy coating.
Glossy.
It'd be a very interesting mouse, I guess, but also very boring at the same time. I'm not sure what the shape would be. Maybe just a lighter weight OP1 with those features, but like a bit more curvature to the sides. Why not? Let's call it that.
Sure. I think for mine, yeah, I'll keep it simple. I'll say SteelSeries Kana, which is kind of what I said earlier. So SteelSeries, the Sensei was the big one, the Kana was the medium, and the Kinzu was the mini. So YZL currently has...
We lost Joel.
Oh. Wait, did he disconnect on purpose? Or do you think he had to go? Spoiler, he didn't.
I think you would have mentioned it.
Yeah. Okay, well.
Carry on.
Anyway, it would be a SteelSeries Kana, so the medium size. I don't know.
He comes back to get kicked out.
Oh, okay.
Something.
Oh, well, if he just comes back, I'll drag him in. I'm just gonna keep going, okay? You're able to message him, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. The Kana specs would be like we would all expect. I would go for the L15 MCU and a small battery and a lightweight. I would go with maybe an unpopular take here. I would target more like a 45 gram instead of just absolutely just going for excellent. There, he's back.
Hello.
We can't hear you. Oh, there you go. My webcam is coming back. We weren't sure if you dipped because you had to go. There's some sweet colorways of this, though, dude.
Hey, there he is.
There he is. All right.
Sorry, I got kicked out, guys.
This base got a little warpy
problem.
too, and it
No
doesn't have any
problem.
parameter clips at all.
My answer
It's an older
for
release,
the mouse
3335
was like a
Celsius.
Kana.
Kana,
Yeah.
It's still a
And then
flawless
specs
sensor,
would be,
but
I mean, I like
power
Armor
draw.
Optical's Nordic L15 MCU for better
Yep.
battery life. I would go with like, I'd be okay with like a 45 to 50 gram weight if it means like a better, thicker sidewalls, nice big skates. I don't need to, I think the Dairyu A950 wing is an example of, I love the shape, but it went too far with the weight reduction. So,
It's just sad that I just have that on my desk, ready to go.
yeah. I guess that'd be my take. Yeah, I'll go with the SteelSeries Kana.
I was talking to Lemonade earlier. We agreed that like the sweet spot for weights might be like upper 40s, lower 50s. Whenever I'm like trying hard in a game, I usually drop back to a mouse in that weight range because you just feel more stable. It's just like it doesn't highlight your like small errors in aiming as much as like a 35-gram mouse. So
Yeah. Oh, I would like to have something with an insanely adjustable sensor position, like what the G-Wolves VOOC is doing. I want to try that. That's actually one mouse I do want to try. Have you seen that, Joel?
I've seen it, but I've never tried it. I've never tried Z-Wolf's mouse.
They're very
that's
interesting.
surprising.
Yeah, they're a company to watch because they do
you
innovate in
should
sort
watch-
of
watch
interesting
G-Wolves.
ways. Like that sensor that's all the way the heck up here in front of the scroll wheel.
Yeah. How different it is from the Ponage.
Can't you put a thicker pad
Well,
on the switch
Ponage
stem? Yeah,
is
if I had
don't
some,
well,
I absolutely would.
Ponage
Mr. LKL. I don't
flex
have
their
any.
patent rights with it, and that's why G-Wolves, I think, is stuck with.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
this
But
mouse.
yeah, Ponage is.
It's
a
not
couple
worth
months
like
ago.
any money because it's all modded, and
G-Wolves
it's not
already
a very
does pretty far forward
valuable
sensors.
mouse to
I
begin
think
with.
that's one of the reasons why they rotate it 90 degrees, like you see here, so they can get it closer to the scroll wheel.
Oh, it's not
Maybe
turning
I
on
don't know.
either.
Maybe I'm wrong there, but yeah, Ponage would
battery's
only be
dead.
adjustable from like.
Battery's probably dead.
Wait, can I do snipping tool here? Heck yeah, from like
That was my Windows sound, by the way.
here to here would be like Ponage's range, and then G-Wolves is putting this up here, which is just nuts. I wonder what that feels like.
Man, yeah, this mouse.
Crazy
One bummer,
responsive.
the USB
Maybe too
receptacle's
responsive, I
so
don't
far
know.
back.
I need to try it though.
Yeah.
Man,
Look at
the
that,
other
they
thing is I gotta
3D
find
modeled the
skates for some
phone
of these
in it.
mice, and I just don't want to. Yeah, where did I put the dongle for the Origin? Oh, there it is. Yeah, I'm not even gonna put skates
Okay.
on this. I don't ever use that mouse.
Really appreciate the questions. That was
Yeah, that
actually
was
very
fun.
enjoyable.
Yeah.
It's nice being asked instead. Yeah.
Let's do a
I
Zalpin
know.
Z1 next.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you for letting me.
Oh, for sure. That's always like a thing when I'm interviewing somebody. I'll be like, "Do you have any questions for me?" And if they don't, I'm like, "Okay, interesting. Noted. Yeah.
Yeah.
I should have asked
Well,
Daz
Joel,
to elaborate
I
on that.
think that pretty much wraps it up for the interview.
Like,
Yeah.
is it? He's saying it's a red flag if they don't have any questions, reciprocal questions. What do you guys think about that? I can see it being good. Like from an job interview standpoint, it shows that they have. It could or couldn't show that they care about the interview, right? If you just had a 3-hour long interview and you even gave them like a tour of your facility and all that, then you say you have any questions at the end of all of this. They might not because, well, you already info dumped on them. But if it's like a quick 15-minute interview or something, or particularly, you know what, he's software, so he does remote work. So that might matter more for like remote interviews. I just get the impression that like remote workers in general, it's a very much so less intense role. So people might not take their this has long screws and short screws. Well, which ones go where, brother? They just might not take it as seriously.
That power switch slider is kind of a pain in the butt. I'm going to trim that down. Can you put a thicker pet instead of trimming? You have a million dots from Allie. Could do biblically accurate dot skates? Just speckle them all over? Like, is that what you're referring to? Oh, man. It is warming up outside. I wonder if I should... This is just going slower than I thought because there's more to do than I thought. I thought I'd just be reassembling and it would each mouse would be like 1 minute. But like finding skates, realizing some of them had mods I wanted to do. Like I specifically picked the Zhaopings, there weren't any mods I wanted to do like switch swaps or anything. Where can people find you or find out about T-Evolution if they want to follow you?
So yeah, the official website will be tfogear.com. If you guys want to reach out to me personally, you can reach out to Reddit T-Evolution_Joel, and
He
you
is
can reach me
active on Reddit.
Discord as well. You can just type T-Evolution and that's it.
Right on. Yeah,
Always
also,
open to chats, recommendations, suggestions.
right on. Also TiVo Gear on Twitter, guys, too.
Right.
Sweet. Well, thank you so much. Do you want to stick on for... We're going to go into the news next.
I think I'm good. I'm gonna grab some lunch and gotta go.
It's about that time, right?
Having Joel on is actually perfect because it's a 12-hour time difference. And we start recording at like 10,
It's about
11
the time
p.m.
here.
Yep.
I'm getting called here.
Thursday. Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you so
Anyway,
much.
thank you so much. I'm the one who thank you guys. Thank you guys for having me. I hope I can share some insights, one or two. And yeah, hope that people can see some key viewpoints from the brand side. And
Yeah.
I look forward to talking with you guys again in the future. Hopefully with some banger releases. And yeah, really thank you so much for having me, Austin and Eric. It's been really nice. It's been a pleasure talking to you guys after watching all of your podcasts, some of your podcasts. And yeah, it's can't believe I'm finally talking to you guys.
I feel
Right
the
on.
same. So yeah, very much appreciated it.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're welcome
Thank you
back
so much.
anytime.
Thank you so much once again. For
Yeah.
sure.
All right.
See you guys.
Yep. See ya.
All right,
Bye-bye.
enjoy lunch. Yep.
Right on, dude. That was awesome. What a genuine guy.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. He was
It was
a good
great.
guest. All right. Let's get on to the news.
was great.
Hour 41 in. Wow. And now everyone's going to tune out because they got to listen to our ugly mugs. Okay. First bit of news. The Pulsar X3 Crazy Light. Oh, news banner. All right. I actually
News
think I'm
banner.
gonna Pulsar X3 Crazy. I'm gonna stop the mouse cast here and I'm gonna switch to some lo-fi. I'm getting sick of listening to myself. I already did so because when I do the stupid timestamps, we're gonna switch to lo-fi, guys. And we're gonna talk a little bit more. I think that's what we're gonna do. Turn on the fan in here too, because I'm getting a little sweaty. And get back to this Alpen Z1. So yeah, feel free to, if you watch Mousecast, leave comments. I do get notifications for the comments, or well, not notifications. I don't get push notifications, but I do go and read. We don't, Daz and I don't exaggerate when we read every single comment. Like, it's honestly difficult to just not go through and heart every single comment. Although, it is interesting. Every once in a while, like every fourth Mousecast, I will get a question. I will get a comment that I'm absolutely not interested in. I don't know, just like a point that I disagree with, or maybe it's just. Generally, the comments are very supportive, so thank you guys. Why did I put the scroll wheel in? That's just gonna make it on hard mode here. Zhaopin Z1 though is good. I don't know, the director's cut Mousecast. I don't think I'm gonna do. It's fun to do it. Okay, pros and cons from my perspective. Pro. When you're live, you obviously miss things that you meant to say. Con, if I just did a director's cut, it would be incredibly long. I could just do snippets on this live stream every now and then. Particularly ones where I know I missed something. Yeah, that's a good take. 2, it doesn't take away views from the Mousecast. Not that I care about views. Like, I care, like, sort of about views, really just as a sanity check of what content works well and what doesn't. Though I do think I already have a pretty firm understanding of that. Anything that's like a major Logitech or Razer release, like the Superlight 2C and Super Strike, that gets like 1100 views compared to a normal Mousecast that gets like 300 to 500. For whatever reason, the Upgrade Lemonade episode popped off and is approaching. It's over 900. It's over 900. But that might have been because I listed Daz and Lemonade as collaborators. Oh, I should check where the long screws go. I think the long screws go in the front? That seems weird. See, there's 2 different size screws. Yeah, we take that for granted, but using like the same screw all throughout an assembly is a conscious decision that sometimes requires some compromise. So, as an engineer, I have definitely designed things where I try to make all the pieces and parts exactly the same, even if it's like less efficient. I'm actually working on a design at work right now that's an enclosure for, I think I can talk about it. In South Carolina, in Timminsville, South Carolina, USA, there's a Honda plant located at 1111 Honda Way. I'm going to be going there next week. Actually, I'm going to be arriving back Thursday, which is when we have to do Mousecast. I'll be arriving back at like... My flight lands at like 7:15 or something like that. And then we're going to have to go into a Mousecast right after. Because I got an hour drive from the airport. Gotta get my ride share, blah, blah, blah. Sorry. I'm making an enclosure. They make side-by-sides there, which are, you know, off-road vehicles. Those side-by-sides have this enclosure option the manufacturer sells that, like, waterproof for, like, rain. It's, like, zip-up doors. Because, you know, it's an old, big old side-by-side. There's, like, a windshield option. So to waterproof test this, I am designing an enclosure right now at work. Oh, maybe this is the right screw. And that enclosure has a bunch of nozzles and they drive the car into it. There's doors that open up, they drive the side-by-side into it. The doors close, a bunch of spray nozzles spray water from all different angles. Think kind of like a car wash for a certain amount of time, then they turn off, then the exit door opens and they drive out. And they leak check that way. And there's going to be a person in the car, which is weird to me. Like, you're going to leak check with a person in the car? Like, what are they... I don't know. But that's what Honda wants. So, I don't know where I was going with this. Oh, so all these different members that... So, the enclosure, it's too big to ship out in a single piece. So, it's going to have to be broken up into pieces to ship it. So, to do that, that means that when you install it on site... If you have to piece it together on site, you want it to go together as quickly and easy as possible because time is money. Especially in field time. You know, way more expensive than building it in your shop. So yes, I made like all these members like the same, even though I could have maybe done it with a few less members. All these like pieces that go together, you know, like a Lincoln log set, because then it'll be easier on the people assembling it, yada yada. Anyway, this is nothing new. I can't find which size screws fit into this, dude. Is this one too big? Yeah, that one's too big. Let's back one out and take another look at it. Bummer for that person if waterproofing the enclosure isn't great. I know. I don't get it that they're going to be inside of it. The assembly line, this might technically be confidential information, but whatever. like the assembly line, they have, like, looking at the plant layout, they have like stations where you can tell the car is, it's not driven through each of these stations. I don't know if it's in neutral and it's just pushed, or if there's a conveyor or what. There are wheels and tires on it as far as I know, so it could just roll. And at each of these stations, they have all their parts, you know, just general assembly of a vehicle. You can just look up Ford General Assembly, and you'll see it's literally an assembly line where the car bodies are going by, and there's a guy who has a whole rack of headlights behind him. There's a guy with a whole rack of gas caps behind him. There's a guy with a, or a lady with a whole rack of windshield wiper blades behind them. And they're going through as it goes along, and they install it. It's like not as crazy as you would think, but anyway. So that's right before the wash enclosure, like within 10 feet of it is when it ends. So I'm guessing that's where they put on all the waterproofing things, and then somebody hops in the car and drives it in. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't like, I don't know. Maybe these things are really watertight and they know exactly which places to look for leaks. Whatever. Did you guys know the UAW, you can make really good money here in the US? I was looking it up because all the like negotiated wages are public information. And you can start like in a UAW plant, you'll start at like $30-ish an hour. No college education, $30 an hour. That's like a $62,000 salary roughly if you're working 2,080 hours in a year. And you get, there are like decent benefits that the UAW gives, I believe. But the real thing is, if you move from like general laborer, which I think general labor might be more like $25 to $30. That's the lower tier. And I think you have to work up to that a little bit. But the skilled trades, you guys can Google this. The skilled trades ones, like maintenance and such, or like running machines. Bro, they'll start at like Nova. They'll start at like $38, $40 an hour. And they can work their way up to like $50 an hour. That's crazy. $50 an hour without a college education and with all these UAW perks. Granted, that is like, I think the like ramp up time I think is around like 5, 6, 7 years, something like that. But that's pretty nuts. Which it's funny because, so I don't work with UAW people because I'm on the supplier side, but I certainly see UAW people working or not, and it is a mixed bag, I'll tell you that. I am not pro nor anti-union. I think doing a blanket statement one way or another is unrealistic. I think unions need to exist in many circumstances because in capitalism it's often the small guy who loses out. But at the same time, if everything's unionized, it can certainly encourage some very negative behaviors. And by negative, I don't just mean like, yeah. So UAW workers are famously, if you work in the automotive industry, they're famously, Nova, go, you're being annoying, bye. UAW workers, I will not be quoted on this, but I will quote somebody else. So at the shop that I work at, we use a sheet metal union, and I work with these guys all the time. I talk with them on a daily basis. These guys are great. Technically, my employer contracts the local union, so they technically work for my company, but they're through contracted, so like they are paid by my company, but they're not anyway, these guys are skilled tradesmen, guys and ladies. These, I mean, some of them you will have like floor sweeper people who are starting out, but most of these people are welders, fabricators, press brake operators, laser operators. Like I said, welding, electricians, machine builders. These guys are skilled trades. When you ask them what they think about UAW workers, they say UAW workers give unions a bad name, because these skilled trades people are incredibly capable people, incredibly hardworking. They have the union gives them really good really good opportunities for career progression. For example, I hear them welding during lunchtime because they have like a welding exam coming up and they're working on getting their certification or whatever. And they can take those skills with them. I mean, that's, you know, when the union pays for you to go and do that, you can take that cert and get another job elsewhere if you want. You can move out of state. You can, yeah. And the union will pay for it. And they'll have, so at least the sheet metal union, that there's labor rates. So there's like C, B, A, journeyman. So C rate is like floor sweeper. You know, you're making $15 an hour sweeping floors and stuff. And you can get that job as, you know, maybe you have a handicap or something that restricts you from being able to do like a really a higher risk job. Or you can do that if you just are young and don't have a resume. Then if you show promise and stuff, there's all these learning opportunities. Like I mentioned, they weld at lunchtime to work your way up and learn to run machines and learn to run equipment. And eventually you can be an A tier rate, which is, I think is like $30-35 an hour. But you can really make a lot of money becoming a journeyman. So journeyman license, that will allow these people to go out and basically sort of function like independent contractors and work on different job sites. And you'll make good money traveling. You know, that's when you can make, you know, $50-60 an hour. But it takes time to get there and it takes skill to get there. And, you know, sometimes it's, I don't want to say unsafe conditions, but like you have to be more safety focused than just an office job. You are going to be working with your hands. You're sometimes going to be working long hours, but you're going to be meeting great people and really doing the work, you know? Let's try this screw. Those UAW jobs are super competitive, though. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, that makes a lot of sense, though. That's wild, Rachel. So, because some of the UAW people that I have worked with, bro, have been... I'm like, how did you land this job? And if your union rep sucks, they can try siding with the company more than the workforce to benefit themselves. It can definitely be a mixed bag. Oh, wow, I didn't even think about that. Yeah. So, like, one union story that I have is... So I just told you about the sheet metal union that at least I'm familiar with, and I think they're great. I think that union gives them... I think it gives people a lot of... It gives people options. You can tell they are all... It gives them learning opportunities and job opportunities that are otherwise kind of tough, and you have to have a lot of initiative to seek out otherwise. And not everyone's geared that way. Some people just want to go to work, be told, put this thing together, then take it apart, and put it together and take it, and that's it. So for these people, it's a great opportunity that gives fulfillment and gives, yeah. But a UAW example that I have is, so there was strikes at some UAW plants near me about a year ago at this time, 2 years ago at this time. There was one plant that I visited just as an educational thing because my boss had to go there for a trip, and I was like, can I tag along? And he's like, sure, and I'll walk you around the plant. And that plant was not striking. There were some plants in the same city that were striking, but this location was not striking yet. I don't know if they ever end up doing their strike. But the attitude there, I mean, there were still picketers outside. Like, there wasn't like an official UAW strike at this plant, but there still were people striking. But, you know, it was a dozen people outside the plant. It wasn't 200 or anything. I go into the plant, which is running production, and all the equipment's on and running. The line is shut down and not moving. And you walk around and just people sitting on their phones. It's not break time, and they're just sitting on their phones doing nothing. I remember as soon as we walked in the door, as soon as we opened up the side door, we walk in, and there's a woman on her phone on one of those little towable cart, you know, electric cart things that you can move people around, and they have a hitch on them so you can move, you know, for like moving pallets around. Not a forklift, but she's on that on her phone. We spend
3 or 4 hours in the plant. Then we leave for lunch out the same door. She's there asleep. We come back from lunch an hour later, and she's there again on her phone. Same park spot, hasn't moved in like 5 hours. We go to leave, and the cart is still parked there, but she's gone. So I guess she went home for the day or whatever. And I don't want to paint with a broad brush here, but the UAW, there's at least the perception on the supplier side that that's how a lot of UAW, that's the downside of a union, is if you feel overly protected, then you might not be compelled to actually work. If the jobs are competitive, though, that's huge. I would love to hear from somebody who's actually like applied to UAW, specific UAW jobs. So again, unions are very different, right? I've heard the union jobs, this is right from Rachel, at the big three are hard to get. The big three being Chrysler, Ford, General Motors. No, but you gotta stop barking at everyone. Rachel says, my husband has had some not great union reps at previous jobs. It's a shame what happened because a union can be so beneficial. It's a shame when that happens because the union can be so beneficial. Yeah. So, like, the downside for my... Okay, she's gonna go bark at people at the door. I don't know, we got some, like, Jehovah's Witnesses or something. Yeah, I'm not gonna answer the door. They're walking away because the dog's barking at them. That's funny. I might have made eye contact with the one woman. Oops. What was I saying? Would B-Stack skates fit on this? No, too big. Dang. Dude, the Zaupin is so small. The skates are so small on it. I might have to do dots on this guy too. I don't think M-Cho's A5 skates are going to fit either, which is a shame because this is... I never use these skates. Oh, are these A5 skates right here? So my employer, one downside to unions from the employer side is, and I'm gonna make it makes us less competitive because our union contract is more costly. So like one thing is we bought a big piece of sheet metal bending machine not that long ago because it automates a lot of processes, and we're simply not competitive with some suppliers in our sphere who don't need to use union labor. So that kind of stinks. But that gets into a question of like not competitive. I don't know. We're still in business. We're still growing. So I think like from that perspective, a union's still good because you're still enabling a local workforce. You're still training people and not being just a total... Yeah, I still think it is a good balance, power balance, I guess. But I do know there are a lot of jobs that we just no quote because we know it's in a town that doesn't require... It's at a plant that doesn't require union work, but we have to use a union because we contract one, and that's like part of our negotiation. So we just no quote the job. So like I guess we are technically missing out on work. Where then like where do you then draw the line of like, so if we were to get more work in, does it just line the pockets of the executives, or which it's like I work for like a 100 employee family owned company, so like I don't know, or would it mean that like we would be able to grow our business further and like hire more people? I don't know, but I will say I really like the union guys that I work with. There's not this at the plant that I am at. There's not this huge stigma of, oh, they're the union, we don't talk to them, and oh, they're the office people, they act too good, you know, like they're better than us. There isn't really a whole lot of that. I think the only difference is simply that all the union guys are in the shop, so they're all working with their hands, and the rest of us are in the office area. I think that's the bigger dividing thing, and I'm sure Rachel, you can talk to this, and other people who've worked in manufacturing can talk to this. I'm gonna go with those skates. I don't love it, but I'm gonna go with that right there on the Zaupin. Do I have an LED on this guy? Yep, okay, there we go. Blue LED, it does work. That's funny. The local JW skipped hitting up our house after we got a dog. Jehovah's Witnesses. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I would like to do a better dongle storage option on the Zhaopin, but oh well. Get what you get, I guess. Oh, I should mark what this is, though, because it's kind of hard to read. Anyway, that was my union rant, I guess. Somebody's gonna clip it and take it out of context. Oh no. No, I think bottom line is if you're like every single business should unionize, I think you need a reality check. Like, what is it? If you take like the wealthiest people, if you take like all the top whatever 0.001%, like all the billionaires, and if you were to just like totally liquidate, like don't even talk about the value that they add to, that they give, that good CEOs give to companies, because they do. We can hate on CEOs, but good ones add a lot of value. No different than any sort of, break it down to like a good manager at your company. You guys ever have a really good manager or a really bad one? A good manager will add a lot of value to the company, and that value might not be simply in like, oh, they sold $2 million worth of equipment this year and over the previous guy who only did one. It's not even that. It could be the value added they give to a company can be so much more abstract than that. But good leaders, it doesn't matter in business and military, in a household, a good leader adds a lot of good value that is always not quite quantifiable easily. So if you were to just like totally liquidate top CEOs from like and pocket the money that into like every American, you would get like $1,000 or two. Do the math. It's really not, and it's also, that's not how like liquidating somebody's portfolio works, because things would devalue and anyway. But like, I don't know. Yeah, I think sometimes people need a reality check that I don't know. It's like people think that like if you say, "Oh, I'm pro worker," then therefore like I don't know, whatever. I guess I just don't want to get into labels because labels are kind of dumb. Rachel says, being someone who made the jump from hourly floor worker to salary office worker, I find the us versus them mentality is dumb. I wouldn't have a job if the floor workers weren't there making parts. Having a good supervisor's make or break. There's that quote that people don't leave jobs, they leave managers. Yeah, that's true. I guess the need for unions is really down to how bad the workers are being treated without one. Yeah, pretty much. The problem is the question of how badly they're being treated is subjective. I don't know, bro. The fact that, like, to me, that's crazy that a UAW worker with the same number of years of experience as me is making more than I make is, like, mind-blowing. Do I think that's unfair? It's unfair because I went to college, but it's also not unfair if that's, like, if that's what, you know, Ford Motor Company can afford. I definitely agree with Rachel's take that the us versus them mentality is dumb. So at my job, I work in R&D. So I design things that are kind of our company's standards. I kind of develop our company's standards, okay? So let's take a mouse, for example. Let's take this mouse. So you might be a contract manufacturer for a mouse. Let's say you are Kaisona. Okay? And Kaisona makes mice for Attack Shark. And Attack Shark comes to you and they say, we want a new mouse that is this shape. And you say, okay. So you might have a design team that is maybe reusing a lot of parts. They're reusing another PCB because Attack Shark said, we're only going to give you this much money and we want these components. And so you don't want to go and reinvent the wheel. So you put your design team on it. That's like what the design department at my job does. It's a lot of regurgitation, retweaks of, we take old past jobs. You know, this Honda washer enclosure thing that I'm working on right now, it's actually not an R&D task. I'm in the design department. We've built like 5 for Honda before. So I'm following I don't want to say cookie cutter, but I have reference material. Therefore, I do not need to put that much brain power into it. I just need to put in my headphones and get to work making lots and lots of drawings. Maybe there's a little bit of intelligence in, like I talked about, like an efficient part design because it's going to be assembled in the field. But point is, you don't want to reinvent the wheel if you're Kaisona. However, where you might want to reinvent the wheel is, let's say you're Kaisona, who's a contract OEM, but you want to go and make your own mouse now. You want to have a flagship product to point to and to show everyone this is how good we can make our stuff under our own brand. So maybe you have an R&D team, an internal one, that really does try to reinvent the wheel. You do explore, instead of just doing things status quo, you do explore exotic materials and other things like that. So me being on the R&D side, I don't know where I was going with this. Shoot. Oh, okay. Yes. Okay. So me being on the R&D side, that's part of my job, is I have to question the status quo. Well, when you question the status quo, when you question, let's say, materials, for example, you want to make a carbon fiber mouse, you don't just go and start. You don't just take an existing mouse, change the material note on it from plastic to make this out of carbon fiber. The people who are actually running the machines, like the injection molding machines, they're going to be like, what? How do we get that material? What if it behaves differently? All these different things. You can't just simply make a change like that. You have to think about its repercussions, you know? I mean, we've seen like carbon fiber mice that have quality issues, or maybe aren't even that lightweight. So the R&D type people really have to work, this is my point, the R&D people have to work closely with the manufacturing people, the people running the machines. And that's what I do at my job. It is standard practice at my job that the whole design department, when they release drawings to the shop, there is no communication. We give the shops to a wonderful young woman named Maria, and she prints them out. She stamps them as like ready for manufacturing, and she walks them down to the people on the shop floor to produce. The designer who made the drawings has no contact by choice. It's kind of set up that way, but in my opinion, by choice, to not walk their drawings down and discuss it with the people. And I think that is wrong. Now the designers are always under the gun with timelines, so maybe they don't want to spend that time, but especially if they're just doing regurgitated drawings of existing designs, then maybe there isn't a whole lot to talk about. But me being on R&D, I try to build a relationship with every single person who touches the things that I design. So if I'm going to make a carbon fiber mouse, I'm going to talk to the person who has to make the mold for the mouse. I'm going to talk to the person who has to put on the skates, because maybe the skates like don't stick that well. I'm making stuff up. I'm going to talk to the person who like has to screw in the screws, because maybe they have a problem with things cracking, and they're like, yeah, the carbon fiber is awesome, but like I crack like half the shells because it's really brittle. Maybe you should do something to like reinforce where the screws are. So I try to talk with all the people who I wonder if I should make that scroll wheel more. I kind of want to make that scroll wheel more tactile. It's like too smooth. I'll make a note on this. I'll keep moving forward. I'll make a note on this one. So going back to Rachel's point about the like dumb us versus them mentality, I 100% agree, because I guess I'll make the note out of tape, because we're all on the same team. It's just the us versus them mentality can be proliferated by people who are not willing to talk. I'm temporarily in the design department at my job instead of R&D, because R&D is a little bit slow and they need help with this Honda job. And so I'm sitting in the design department. I moved my computer and everything over there, and there's like about a dozen other designers. More tactile. Scroll, please. Because I'm not going to do that on this stream. And listening to the other designers' work, nobody talks to each other. I get that they're all like under the gun and they probably have a good understanding of what they need to do, but dang, nobody talks to each other. Maybe I'm just the extroverted one, but I'm like on the phone with Kyle, who runs our sheet metal bending machine, like constantly, and I'm like, can this part be put through? Hey, if you change the settings, are you able to get this kind of bend radius? For our plant personally, says Rachel,
think we unionize people because of double standards. The rules weren't always applied equally. Yeah, I could see that. I'm not totally against when you bend a rule for your workers that goes above and beyond, but sometimes it seemed like bending the rules for supervisors' favorites. Yeah, I could see that. I know one thing that our shop guys get is off. They'll get a couple extra days off that we don't get, which I'm all for. They get like Labor Day weekend. They got a 4-day weekend instead of a 3-day weekend. Yeah. I don't know. I think, okay, maybe here's an unpopular take. If, like, this is maybe apples to oranges, but if the decision is, like, unionize versus, like... Okay, if unionizing makes you less competitive, let's take my employer, for example. If unionizing makes you less competitive because your union contracts are kind of more costly, or you have a structure or whatever, you have to pay this administrative overhead, or I don't know. If a union makes you less competitive, then what could an employer do with that money that would not unionize but still benefit the workers more? One that I'll say immediately is I went from having a salary job to now I'm hourly. Bro, hourly is such a good... I think hourly... We're going to do the Corsair M75 Air next. I think hourly is so good for mental health. Just the fact that if you are asked to work late, you will actually be compensated for it instead of a salaried position where you're not. Or if you're like behind the 8 ball on a deadline or something and you're like, crap, I'm going to have to work this weekend. Sorry, family. Sorry, friends. Sorry, obligations. At least knowing that you're going to make additional money is I think really, really good mentally. And it also then breeds a culture of the managers who have key performance indicators, KPIs, you know, for managing projects and stuff. They are now in this position of they have to be intelligent with how they manage people. They can't just, you know, we've all had supervisors before who just squeeze blood from stones, and you know, they just squeeze and squeeze and squeeze. But and make you know, asking people to work extra hours and being unfair in that regard. But if people are hourly, then when that manager goes and asks people for additional time to come in on the weekend, it's going to be reflected in their KPIs, and their manager is going to be like, "Hey, why was your labor cost for this job 2x what it should have been?" So then there's this, it creates a little bit of a cultural workplace culture of awareness for people's time is what it is, if I can boil it down into more succinct words. It breeds a culture in the workplace that people's time is valuable. It's not to be abused. And if people do have to work extra on something, they should be rewarded. So I'm a big fan of hourly work. Or if you are, so technically I'm not hourly. I'm in a very, very fortunate position where I am salaried, but I get paid overtime. I get straight time over 40 hours and time and a half over 50. It is awesome. I do have a slightly lower base pay than what I could get at another job, but when you factor in the overtime that I work, I'm probably like, I'm at like market, I'm like slightly maybe above on the better side of the market average for my age, maybe? I don't know. But I also don't get very great benefits. Like, it's crazy to me that like I have a kid on the way, and I have a bunch of friends who work at big companies, and those big companies give like paid paternity leave. I don't get shit. I'll be using a week of my PTO. I don't know what skates I used on the Corsair. These ones, I think. These are VXE skates? VXE R1 skates? Sure, we'll go with these. So, I don't know. In some reality where maybe if, like, a company was, like, being pressured to unionize and they're like, well, we really don't want a union to come in here, but we really need to do something fair and just, and let's say that company actually does do something fair and just, I think one thing would be, I mean, it's going to depend on the situation, right? If the workers are trying to unionize because of safety, yeah, brother, I don't know. Like, how much can you even trust your employer to make things safe if they've had a track record of not allowing things to be safe? I don't know. Another thing that I guess is relatable is I've been fired from I've been fired and laid off from my past 2 jobs. The firing was nothing performance related. It was because the owner of the company is a sociopath, like actually probably diagnosable, and I don't even say that as like a person who's miffed or butthurt or vengeful. I say that like actually probably diagnosably. I had a job interview one day, so I think word got around the office, and the next day I was gone. But that was even after having built up the company and made the company more money. And I could get into, oh my gosh, do I have stories from that startup? Anyway, where was I going with this? Let's see how much the Corsair M75 Air weighs. Those skates don't fit the best, but that's okay. 50 grams on a huge mouse like this is quite nice. The side buttons are like too far recessed, so you gotta put grip tape on them. I don't know. Oh, safety. Yeah, I did a few things that were unsafe on that job, and looking back at it, I wish I'd said no. I mean, I'm safe now, but you know, in the moment, I didn't know any better, so I said yes. One of the examples was I was unloading a high-low, and truck drivers, when they arrive, you know, they're paid by the load. They're not paid by the hour. So they want you to get it off their truck. They want you to sign the bill of lading or whatever it is and get the heck out of there. And this guy, we had an undersized forklift for what we were trying to get out. So like we put fork extensions on, and it was still kind of tippy. And they asked me to get up on the on part of the load that it was like tipping back into the back end of the truck. We were unloading from the back of a semi. We didn't have a dock. This is just a little startup company, a little strip mall place. So the truck driver asked me to get up onto the load that we were picking up because it kept tipping forward and going back into the truck. So if I stood closer to the forklift, that would push it back. And it wasn't a terribly heavy thing. It was probably, I don't know what it was. It was probably 3,000 pounds or something. So it was like well below the 5,000 pound rating of the forklift. But yeah, the truck driver asked me to do that. And I looked over at my coworker, and my coworker kind of gave one of these like, I don't know about that. Like, I don't know if you should listen to this guy, but also we are so under the gun. I mean, we work stupid hours at that startup. Nova, you bark too much, girl. Go. Go bark at him downstairs. Okay, I'm gonna pick you up, dog. You're coming with me. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, we were just under the gun constantly, so he kind of gave me that look of like, we need to get this done, but also I don't know about that. So basically he said nothing, and he should have told me otherwise. I was fresh out of college. This is like my first month on the job. Yeah. No, I'm not saying that company would ever unionize. That company, it was like a
7-person startup. Are you kidding? But not to mention the state that I'm in, it's an at-will employment state. So, I don't know. My wife and I have been watching the TV show Suits, and it's a drama about lawyers in New York City. And there's time to time, there's an episode that will feature like a wrongful termination lawsuit. And my wife and I are just like, lol, yeah, the state we're in is an at-will employment state. Employers don't need any reason to fire you. Same thing goes for employees. You don't need any reason to leave a job. So it's just kind of weird seeing like, I mean, it's a TV show, so I don't know how realistic it is, but point is, there's like, I don't know. Maybe I'm jaded at this point and I shouldn't have this take, but I feel like employees shouldn't owe their companies anything if employers aren't going to act like they owe their employees anything. My first job I was fired from, nothing performance related. It went, gosh, I can't even like talk about it because there's like no way. It was just insanely psychotic. Yeah, the owner just had, like some trust issues and, was kind of neurotic. And I did like everything for that company. They even talked about like successorship, like if something were to happen to the owner, because we grew from like, I was hired in as like employee number 5 or so. We talked about successorship. I was like so integral to that company and worked so many hours and worked so hard and everybody loved me, blah, blah, blah. And we talked about successorship if something were to happen to the owner. Yeah, I would probably be the one in charge. But then, yeah, then literally the opposite happens. A year later, I get fired. So I'm not like bitter about it because it's like the best decision. I didn't have the strength to leave. It's like an abusive relationship. You don't have the strength to, all the people on the outside, all your friends and family are like, why are you doing this to yourself? But then when you're in it, you're like, well, I love what I'm doing, or, I'm making a big difference, yada, yada. Man, I got so many stories, which I should probably share to be entertaining. But I also just don't like revisiting that because it's just, it's something that I'm like I've accepted, and I'm really not angry about it anymore. Because it like definitely was for the best. And then like literally 2 weeks later, like 2 weeks after my last day there, I had an awesome interview with another startup, a publicly traded one that was a way better job. It was way better pay. It was like a 10% wage increase. It was better benefits. It was a better work-life balance. I was only working then like 40, 45 hours a week at that job. I met really cool people. I worked on some groundbreaking new green energy tech stuff. I got featured in newspapers and on Yahoo News articles. Wonderful opportunity. So like it was all for the best. But man, I got stories from that company, from that first one. I got stories from both of them. At-will employment is a wild concept. See, I feel the opposite. I feel like bro, I feel like the opposite should be true. Or equally true. I don't know. It depends on your version of reality. To me, that's wild that like you get a job and you're just like, I don't know. You just have this like protection level. I don't know. To me, it's like, as a person who's worked at startups, I don't know. Maybe it's different if you work at a really big company. Like I know Daz is flying for work to Europe for the first time next year. And it's because, so he's a team manager. I don't know how many reportees he has. I don't think it's a ton. I think it's probably more than 5, less than 10. I don't know. We should ask for Daz directly. But he manages software developers
for well, I'm not gonna say what his employer is, but he works for a major company that you guys have all probably heard of, S&P 500 type company, and he is flying to 2 European countries that are kind of far apart from each other. Simply because he has a team member in each country. It's Portugal and Germany, I guess I could say that. Because his employer is like, yeah, new team leads or something should know their team members. They wanted face-to-face is what Daz told me. And I'm just thinking to myself, holy crap, I have never worked for a big enough company who would ever value that. Never. To send an employee, a high-earning, managerial level employee to 2 separate countries across the Atlantic Ocean for a face-to-face. I don't know the nature of this. Maybe there's more to it, and I'm not doing this fair, and I'm just postulating here, and we should really hear it from Daz. Probably, it's probably the real thing. But like, a likely 5-figure expense for the company to have a face-to-face. Now, maybe that company, maybe that's just the way they run things. I mean, maybe it's just a really lucrative business. Maybe I'm just getting fucked here in manufacturing where every single penny is accounted for, and where margins are thinner because we're competing with China. I don't know. Or maybe that's like the way things are supposed to be, and I need to get a job at a big company because all these small family-owned businesses are not the way to go. I don't know. But the fact that he is valued that much by that company is really good. Like absolutely really, really good for Daz. Let me be clear on that. That's really good, and that's really cool that his employer values team collaboration that strongly. But it's just it is absolutely wild in my mind. Nowhere have I worked would somebody do that. Like, I think it's mind-boggling that me being an R&D, they send me to trade shows and stuff because we got to know about like patents and other upcoming technologies. And those trade shows will be like $800 tickets, and I'll just be able to go for a day, which is my entire work day. So I'm not getting any work done either, any office work done. Man, guys, I don't really know. A lot of these mice, I want to switch things on, but I don't really want to get into soldering and stuff because I don't have a ton of time because I got to work on my cars today. My wife's car, when she hit that tire, they also saw that her brakes were getting pretty bad, and stupid Ford ball joint, one of the front ball joints is bad. So, and Ford, they're pressed into the control arms. They're like one piece of the control arm. So to replace a $15 ball joint, you have to replace the whole $100 ball, control arm. Yeah. Sorry, I should be... Bro, no paternity leave sucks. I mean, I still get FMLA, Rachel. But... So, like, I still will get my job back. But, yeah, I mean, you work for a big company. So, maybe it's just a big company thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm just an idiot for... I don't know. I also don't want to be a cog on the machine. But if you're at a big company, but at like a unique location, I feel like that could be good because then you get the benefits of a big company. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's all I've ever known though is like no paternity leave. So then when I see that I have like friends at like Stellantis and Ford who like work remotely and seriously on a 40-hour work week, only put in actually 8 hours of work. I'm not exaggerating. And then they have a kid and they get like 10, 12 weeks of 100% pay off as leave. I'm like, holy crap, how is that sustainable? But I guess it is. My company sends corporate people to Mexico not infrequently. Yep. A little behind on stream, but I need to learn from you guys. Currently learning how to make laser cutting stuff, but don't understand anything. I love being a cog in a machine. Yeah, see, I'm the opposite. I would like... If I wasn't in a situation where I need to be earning money for my family, I'm not kidding, I would seriously consider YOLOing time and money into making some sort of mouse side business. I don't know. I would be okay working really hard at something, even if it didn't mean a lot of pay, if it was my own thing. 10 to 12 weeks is a lot. My boss got 2 weeks paid paternity last year. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, but Rachel, the 10 to 12 weeks, that is, I'm telling you right now, Ford, Chrysler, General Motors, those 3 employers are all that way. Now, maybe that's because they compete for people with one another. All of them are that way. I believe Stellantis is 12 weeks and Ford is 10, or flip-flop that. And then GM is, I think, also similar. I had a friend who works at GM as a controls engineer, and he just had another kid. And that's per kid, too. Isn't that wild? Well, per birth, so I don't think you get double for a twin. See, I don't really want to get into modding another mouse if, like, well, okay, I'll do the Razer Viper. This is one that I don't think I'm changing anything in. Yeah, dude, I would seriously consider starting my own company. Like, I realized after... Okay, so I did one startup that I absolutely loved, but 0 work-life balance and really toxic management. The second startup I was at was publicly traded, run really well. The product flopped, and we went out of business, more or less. Then the job I'm at now is kind of a hybrid of the two, where it is like small and family-owned. It's not super corporate, but the work-life balance is really good. I have like a 14-minute commute. They like me there. And it's at this job maybe about... So I've been at my current job for just about 3 years. And it was about a year in that I realized I don't think any job I'm going to love... Any job I have is going to have caveats unless I start my own business. Because the first place I worked at, I loved the work, but it was really toxic, and at the end of the day, I didn't own any of it. It wasn't mine at the end of the day, no matter how much effort I put in. The second job I was at was like a really cool idea, but just a little bit more corporate, because publicly traded and trying to run it like a big business, and I was like, eh. And then the job I'm at now is like a family-owned company, but I just don't believe in the product. I don't just... Like, honestly, I'm in R&D, and I think it's the most boring out of all the jobs I've had. So, yeah, I would love to start my own business. That was the revelation I had maybe a year and a half ago. I was like, yeah, if I leave my current job, it's probably going to be to start my own business, because I don't think I'm going to find another job that I've had enough positive experiences where, like, I don't think I could get exactly what I'm looking for without making something that was exactly mine. Put it simply. Our maternity leave, it's like 2 or 3 months, I think. I never looked into it because it's not relevant to my plans, lol. But seems like that's how long the ladies are out when they have kids. Yeah, and it's often with larger employers, it's often... maternity leave is often classified under short-term disability because, bro, birth is quite the event for you ladies. So there is, like, legitimately, if you have a physical job, you cannot do it. I mean, between bleeding and postpartum depression and literally having an infant at home to take care of, it's usually short-term disability is my understanding, at least here in our state. So short-term disability will be an X number of weeks or months at an X level of pay. So my mom worked for a major hospital system in our state, and she got short-term disability, which was 60% of her pay for, I think somewhere between around 2 months-ish, give or take a month. I don't exactly remember how long. I didn't know that until I asked her about it, like, literally a few weeks ago. I could try big-ass Viper skates on this. I think they would fit. But I don't know if I want to. I kind of wish I didn't cut this base up, huh? Here's Viper Hyperspeed skates. Yeah, no. So, maternity leave. Yeah, I think it's, I don't know. Just leave in general is just like a... Then there's other ones too, like professors who get like... You know, you hear about professors who get like tenure and then they just screw around because they are tenured, and I don't even know what that means entirely. But at the same time, it's like if tuition is like insanely expensive and it all going towards people being highly paid individuals being complacent, that like frustrates me. I don't know. Then again, professors might not make that much money. I don't know. My understanding is that professors might not really make a whole lot of money except when they're doing like research for a university that some private company is funding. And then maybe they get some of that contract money, or in some way, you know, whether it's directly or indirectly through their university as employer, who's like, yeah, you're really valuable because you bring in these huge contracts for our company, so we're gonna want to pay you really well to keep you happy and keep you at this university. I don't know. Tuition, dude. Tuition makes me so mad. Not fair. It's not fair to people. How do you feel, Rachel, about being a female in... Okay, so skilled trades. People talk about skilled trades because college, like, not as relevant this day and age because it's too absurdly expensive. How do you feel being a woman, like, with the talk of skilled trades? Do you feel... And there's fewer opportunities potentially, right? Are there fewer opportunities as a woman? I don't know. When I see, you know, at my job, the shop people, there's like 2 women and like 80 shop guys. Now, is that just because fewer women gravitate to that field because of their own personal what they want, or you think that's because they avoid it because of physical labor and not being able to keep up with? Sorry, we like to be all neutral around like gender equality and stuff. All for that. Males are stronger, bigger. I'm sorry. That's not gonna... That is a blanket term that I'm pretty safe saying in, you know, many cases. Not every case, but in many cases. Do you feel like being a woman in like skilled trades, that's like... Do we need to talk about women in skilled trades more often? Let's try to pick out the next mouse. How about a Logitech GPX Superlight? This is a mouse I sure as heck am not gonna mod because I don't really... I could put Omron Opticals in it. Isn't that interesting? Now that I learned the whole trick with Omron Opticals as mechanical switches. Wild. Oh wow, that dongle's stuck in there good. Dang, son. Holy smokes. It's a mix, says Rachel. I only ended up in manufacturing because my uncle suggested my sister and I work at the plant. No one told me in high school that trade schools or stuff like that were an option. Yeah, but what about, like, imagine you have a female... You're mentoring a female person in your life, whether it's hypothetically a daughter or a niece or a young friend or something, and they're at an age where they're thinking about what they want to do for a career. Can you recommend skilled trades to women? Like, should that be marketed more towards women, or is that just like so few are interested at all? I don't know. I guess I don't really know what I'm asking. What was my original question? Okay, I guess here's my question. What's the non-college good career route for women if it's not skilled trades? I guess you could apply this to just people who are delete the word women and just say, if not skilled trades, what's another... Yeah, let's do that question. If not skilled trades, what's another what is the non-college play in 2025 or 2035 in 10 years from now? I don't know. What's the non-college play? We talked about UAW previously. I don't know what it being really competitive, what that quantifiably means. Like, yeah, I don't know how to quantify that. Where'd my screwdriver go? There it is. Growing up for the most part, the non-family adults in my life weren't telling me to go do dirty or tough work with my hands, so I wasn't looking for it because I didn't know. Rachel says, I would tell this person she can do whatever she wants, yet it has to be marketed to, it should be marketed towards women. Yeah, but like, what's the non-college play? The whole gender norms legacy still probably plays a large part in it. Yeah. Like, also, just understand, too, that, like, there are, I don't know. I'm all for, like, not reinforcing social norms, but when it comes to, like, gender norms, but, like, you also have to understand there are, like, physiological and chemical differences between men and women that sometimes lends itself to, like, I don't know. I don't want to. That's something that like podcasting has kind of shown too is you don't want to be controversial, but also like at what point are you just a bland, like not regurgitating any information, not having an opinion? I don't know. Then again, maybe opinions don't need to be talked about as much as they are, but yeah. Anyway. I don't know what the play is for a female looking for skilled trades or just anyone. What's another play? I get ads on Reddit for like data entry, like remote work is doing data entry and how you can get like $25 an hour working from home with what sounds like pretty easy, but who knows? Maybe that's also ultra competitive. Not quite skilled trades, but adjacent is a lot of like traveling work. So for example, working on container ships, you can make really good money. Like you can go make 100 grand in like 8 months, but yeah, you're going to be away from home for 8 months. And like ships do sink every now and then too, which kind of sucks to think about. You're probably going to be fine, but personal anecdote, we had an equal ratio of females to males in electronics engineering in my college. It's supposed to be good in my state. I didn't know that would be the case. In CS, it's common, though. Really? That's cool to hear that more women are getting into this computer sciences. Differences tend to lend themselves to being easier / harder, yeah, but I personally think there are very few jobs a woman couldn't do if she really wanted to. And put the work in, even if it took more work. Yeah. Yeah. Yep, I still remember at my very first internship, I was in high school, so I was in a mechanical internship at a local company, and I had a classmate who was in the internship program with me. He was a smart kid. I remember, so in high school, you're at an age where you're still referring to adults in your life as Mr. and Mrs. You know, your teachers are Mr. and Mrs. You go over to your friend's house and they're Mr. and Mrs. often. So then going into a workplace where like you're working with team members and it's Jim and Robert and Mary, it's weird. And I remember
having a bit of a wake-up call with something happening at the office that I wasn't a part of, and it was drama, and even me as a senior in high school, I was like, these people are acting immature, but they're like adults. Shouldn't adults know better? And I told that to my classmate, and he was like, my dad told me this. Everything you ever needed to know to do a job, you learned in kindergarten. It's an exaggeration, but the point is that, yeah, like things inherent to a person, or social things like work ethic and your ability to effectively communicate and articulate and talk about ideas and politeness and respect. You don't learn all these in kindergarten, but point is you learn them not so much in a college classroom. And those are things that will make you really successful at any job. Because here we are as high schoolers working among adults, huge imposter syndrome because none of us, we don't have degrees. We don't know what the heck we're doing. But we can use a computer faster than these old boomers, right? So yeah, definitely imposter syndrome at that job. Also, you didn't take it super seriously because it was an internship. I mean, you took it seriously because like you cared, right? You're still at that point in your life where like you care about a lot of that stuff because you have all this future ahead of you and you're told GPA and get good grades and get into a good school. So that still is like definitely a part of it, but it's not, it's an internship. It's different when an internship, there's like an ending to it. There's an end date. Just totally changes the framework of that job in your mind. That's what I was trying to say earlier too about the hourly pay. Yeah, it just changes the framework of what that job is to you. In a positive way, I think. And clean the scroll. It has some goobers in it. The old toothbrush and isopropyl alcohol trick. I wonder if it just kind of flings the dirt everywhere. It probably technically does. Trucking, if you get a good gig, I hear that can be pretty decent money, but if it's a long haul, then it's being away from home, a lot of that too. Yeah, so I had one coworker at a previous job whose son did trucking, and also one of my good friends who lives in nearby now. Almost said that. Her dad is a truck driver. He's an immigrant too who barely knows any English. He does more long haul type stuff. So my coworker, I'll tell my friend's dad's story first. It's a good job for him because he doesn't know English and never really tried to learn English, unfortunately. So interacting with people at work is a really tough thing. So being an independent contractor, having your own truck, it's a good gig for him. He doesn't make that good of money. It's really competitive. There are restrictions on, like, you can't drive for more than 8 or 10 hours a day, whatever it is. There's like mandatory rests that you have to take. They are definitely a 2-income family and they don't live anywhere nice. Now I don't know, maybe there's like more modern things that he's not embracing, things of like, I don't freaking know, AI route planning or different job boards. I did talk to a truck driver once doing a Craigslist deal who was coming in from Chicago. He wanted to buy a mouse from me and like way overpay for this mouse, but I was like, sure. And he was like, can you hold on to it for a month because I'm not going to be in up by you until later, because he was coming from Chicago. And I was like, sure. So I held on to it. When he shows up, we chatted a little bit. I was like, what's being a truck driver like? And he said, you get paid by the job, or at least the way he is, and so he's like, I'm an independent contractor, so I don't work for like a trucking agency. Sometimes you'll see those semi trucks on the back, it says drive for us or hiring drivers. This guy was an independent contractor. I do think you can be an independent contractor and work for like a trucking group. That's kind of what my wife does with physical therapy. But I remember he said for this load that he took from Chicago to where I live, it was like $2,500, and he did it in like 2 days. And I was like, whoa, that's really good. And he's like, well, here's the thing. My fuel, I remember his fuel was like $1,700 or something like that. It was like between $1,000 and $2,000.
you have to account for the wear and tear on your vehicle. You have to account for your time isn't just the travel time. You have like DOT inspections, you have maintenance you need to do, you have safety checks you need to do, you have the mandatory stops that you need to do. And at the end of all of it, I remember coming away from it being like, he gets a check for $2,500, but his expenses are like basically 80% of that. So like for a couple days worth of work, he's getting several $100s. And I remember thinking like, okay, so he's getting paid acceptably, but it's not this insane trick. Maybe it's different for other things though. I don't know. AI truck route planning and really badly. To be fair, I think you're right. It's very competitive. For good jobs, most are paid by load, but every once in a while at work, a guy could tell me he's paid by the hour. Yeah, I get that. That'd be nice. That's right, because I do see the trucks too that say that they get hourly pay. Few and far between gigs out there. I think you have to work at the crappy ones to get enough experience to get hired at a good one. Yeah. Or, I mean, that's just really how it works, right? You get hired at crappy ones and you job hop until you're at a good one, then you stay. So, but my, so another truck, so I talked about my friend's dad, I talked about the guy I talked to, and wait, was there another trucking story I had? Maybe not. Gotta cut the little slit from my fingernail into the power button groove because they got sanded down when I modded these. There we go, that ought to do it. Maybe a little bit more just to make it even. Oh, my coworker. So he had a son who was, I don't want to say a deadbeat. He was struggling to find purpose in life, let's say. Young adult, graduated high school, didn't go to college, kind of lived at home, couldn't really figure out what he wanted to do. Ended up being I forget what he was. But he didn't like it and he got fired from it. I forget what it was. He got a job for local deliveries, truck driving for Coca-Cola, Pepsi, one of those. He absolutely loved it. Being local deliveries, he is home every night. He was paid hourly. He had like a set route of customers to deliver to. So you got to kind of meet people. It wasn't totally isolating. And he really liked it. Unfortunately, I think he got fired from it. Or something happened. Did he get into an accident? Something happened and he left that job, but he didn't want to. Yeah. So local deliveries, I guess, is also another play. What about like a government job, huh? Like, okay, post office workers. Not very glamorous, but it is cool that it's like relatable. You can say, yeah, I'm a delivery driver. Wait, I'm looking for a red mouse. Yeah, SC900. There it is. You could say I'm a delivery driver. I'm a USPS delivery person. I'm a mailman, mailwoman. That sounds cool. That's relatable. Everybody gets it. That's kind of fun. That's something that I remember when I was a little kid trying to decide what I was going to do. Like little kid, like, you know, before middle school, and thinking, I don't know what I want to do for work, but I want a job that people understand. Because my mom was a physical therapist, which I like sort of understood. I was like, okay, so you're like kind of a doctor, but not, you like work with people to make them get better, like physically, like recovering from surgery and stuff. Okay. Like you're working with sick people who are like physically sick, not like, you know, not like viral sick. So I got that. My dad though works in like IT, but very, very niche. It's like one of the jobs he had was the knowledge base for EDS. EDS was like a really big tech company around the .com bubble.
They got bought by HP during the economic downturn of 2008, but knowledge base, like analysts or something like that. So their knowledge base is like, if you have customers or internal employees with like IT issues, you would call the IT department, right? And the IT department has like a phone tree of troubleshooting that they walk you through, right? And that phone tree on the call center side, there's like a knowledge base that they reference. And my dad worked on like developing that. And me as a, fourth grader, I didn't freaking understand this. So I would just say my dad works in IT. And even to this day, my dad has done some other stuff, but they've all been kind of adjacent to that. Yeah, when people ask me if it's like not people who are, I know really, ouch, something sharp. Oh yeah, look at that little sliver thing. Get out of here. Ow, it's still there. Dang it. So I remember growing up being like, I want a job that is relatable. So a post office worker could very much be that. Is physio a good job in your opinion, says Mayank? Oh, good question. So physio is, I really like that people in other countries call it physio or physiotherapy instead of like physical therapist. I just think that sounds neat and more sciencey. Where I live, no, being a physical therapist, being in physio is not at all a good play. Here in the US, most states, to be a PT, you need a doctorate degree. There are some states where you only need a master's. Only need a master's. So minimum, you're looking at 6 years of schooling, but realistically, it's 8. And on top of that, that schooling is intensive. So the program that my wife was in, they get, I don't remember how many hundreds of applicants they get. I don't know, maybe 500 applicants or something like that. And her class size is only like 30, 40 kids. So it's like less than a 10% acceptance rate. So you have to be really smart. And if you don't get into a PT program, your undergrad degree is a health sciences degree. And if you don't get into a PT program, there isn't much you can do with a health sciences degree. Lauren was saying if she didn't get into PT school, like one of the very few job opportunity prospects that she would have had would have been like working as like an OSHA auditor for like manufacturing facilities or other workplaces, like checking the ergonomics of things. And there's not like a huge job market for that. OSHA is occupational health and safety here in the US. So yeah, health and safety at workplaces. Oh, that's right. This one needs a battery swap because this one has some funny business. I forgot that I need to battery swap this guy because of reasons. So that's not happening today. Shoot. All this is to say, oh, well, she has a doctorate degree. She probably makes good money. Nope. Nope. I make like, so she's at a kind of a interesting job now where she makes a good hourly rate, but she only works part-time. But when she graduated, her job offer from an outpatient clinic, so they're all competitive, they're all like within one another, was like $65,000, I think, $60,000 a year salary. So again, that like 30-ish, 32-ish dollar an hour rate, and you have a doctorate degree, and your pay scale doesn't really ramp up much from there. You can get into like owning your own practice or like franchising one of these outpatient clinics like a Health Quest or Team Rehab, but maybe at that point you make $100,000 a year. Maybe, I don't really know. Maybe there's like profit sharing things that make franchising more beneficial. But point is, if you're just a staff PT at one of these places, you're starting 60, 70 grand maybe this day and age, and topping out maybe like 90, 100 grand. And that's after taking, out $100,000 in student loans. So I mean, or you can just go be an engineer, make the same money or better, and not have to get grad school.
So there's that. So it comes back to like you don't do it unless you're doing it because you love it. PT does not make sense from like a money standpoint. We're paying off her student loans right now, and it just absolutely kills us. It's a second mortgage, and it has been for, when did we start paying them? 2021. So it has been for 4 years. It just puts your whole life on hold too a little bit, because the additional schooling means you're probably not going to get married as early as your classmates. You're probably not going to have kids as early as your classmates. Yeah. Yeah, every once in a while, Lauren has an existential crisis, like, I shouldn't have done PT. I mean, she felt that way more so when she was at a job she didn't like, and like she's at a job that she likes now, with flexible hours, and she works part-time. Yeah. So, but unfortunately, because she's paid as a contractor, she loves her job, she loves her bosses, but she works as a contractor. So good old 10% self-employment income tax in addition to her pay. That's cool. And yeah, no benefits. She's on my benefits for everything, because if she wanted benefits, she'd have to pay for them. You know, medical benefits, dental, all that, vision, etc., etc. Was there anything I wanted to do this mouse? I don't think so. Yeah, Attack Shark R3, such a good mouse. 4 years here, I think. Yes, I forgot you guys have very high education costs. Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, you could look up what, like, when people say, is it a good job? I went to like the money side of it. At the end of the day, if it's a job you enjoy, just friggin' do it. Cost be damned. That's like what I was saying about mouse stuff, bro. If I could make like a measly like $2,000 a month or something, that's not like sustainable here in the US, or just like barely sustainable, like just like barely above living out of your car, but I could just do mouse stuff all day long, I would. The problem is I have a family to take care of. Those darn families, man. My dad went through a similar career thing. He went to school for, so I said he worked in IT, sort of, and he got the job through a friend, basically, brother-in-law, sort of. But my dad actually went to school for music education. That is 100% his passion. He's your band camp counselor type personality. So working in IT, he's too people driven. He likes music and all these things. But band teaching jobs are tough. Each school only needs one person. So for years he worked at a job in the upstate area for like basically no pay, where you have to wear a bunch of different hats, and he's away from his fiance, now wife, and my mom for long periods of time, and it just wasn't sustainable. He tried a few different other teaching jobs and it just wasn't working out. So he heard about this IT job that would be more of an office job, and he'd be able to stay at home and make better pay than what a band teacher would do, and he did that. It was kind of a major sacrifice that he did for his family. I finally bought the other monitor arm. No more roasting my setup in Discord. It says me, SweeX. Good to know. Good to know. I think, guys, I'm gonna end the stream here. I barely got through any mice, but that's okay. I think there's just more I need to do here, so I actually think I might do a lot of these offline. I would love to keep going, but I have things to do. It's almost noon, and I need to work on my car, my wife's car and my car today, before the weather gets too cold and snows on the ground, and I don't want to work on cars. $1,000 USD is okay to live in my country, so that's KK. It's just that mouse still costs the same everywhere. Bye, says Mike. Yeah, that's interesting. So I went out to have fun with the car stuff. I went out to California to visit family and do a vacation there some years ago, and I remember one thing that it was interesting is, so California is very famously high income but also high cost of living. So you'll have people there who are just like casually, you know, what's a $100,000 a year job where I live is 2-3x that in California. And So you have these people with these really, really high salaries, so you think they'd be loaded, but then they also have, I remember, this is 2018, I remember my cousin who is living out there, who's like an Amazon upper level management, I won't say executive. So she's probably making good money, but their apartment was 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom. I slept on the floor. It was like 600 square feet, and it was $3,000 a month. It was in not a nice area. It was like not like an inner city. It was San Francisco Bay Area, really high cost of living, but it was one of the not nice, more industrial towns outside of that. Not Oakland, but adjacent to that. Yeah, $3,000 a month back in or 3,600. It was 3,000 something back in 2018. That was nuts. Like that equivalent apartment for me where I live would have been like $700. So it was like 4x. Yeah, and so it was interesting too that like, so the people out there, a lot of them live in like not the nicest houses, but because costs for like products and goods are all the same. For example, cars, you see a lot more luxury cars out there. At least that was something I noticed. Where I live, it's like all American made and old foreign rust buckets and stuff. Out there, it was like a lot of Teslas, because a Tesla is 40 grand whether you're in Minnesota or you're in California. It's still 40 grand or whatever. You know, maybe marginally smaller because like maybe dealer margins are less at certain places. But yeah, so the things that were fixed costs, they would have more of them. But yeah, 1K a month is nothing here. That's yeah, that's nothing even in a low cost of living place here in Tesla, lol. So if I remember correctly, there was a company asking about mouse advice. Would 8K sub 50 gram 3950 on optical flat base be the GOAT? Yeah, pretty much. I think shape matters a lot, coding matters a lot, click feel matters a lot. But yes, I would like to see more flat bases. Okay, with that, guys, thank you all for watching. Sorry I didn't really do a whole lot of mouse stuff, but you guys, thanks for engaging with me. I appreciate you all. I'm going to go work on a car. I appreciate all you guys being in chat. Me, Sweet, Rachel, Mayank, Marvin. Probably forgetting some other people. Y'all have a great rest of your weekend. Maybe I'll stream more tonight. Bye!